Okay, so let's go over the patch notes together.
Yeah.
um, because this is important to you as a tank player. A lot of this
Yeah,
stuff is
of
actually going to
course.
shift. I made a whole
Yeah.
post about this earlier today.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, let's go over it. So the
Mhm.
big one's the general one. Armor damage reduction increased from 3 to 5. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
kind of walk you through like my thinking as to how this is going, and I also did watch a ton of PTR scrims last week, like all top
Oh yeah.
500 GM level scrims.
Yeah.
We tried every iteration of every single comp you could think of. No one really knows the meta just yet, I don't think, but I
Mhm.
can comment to these pretty well. The armor damage reduction is a big one for tank players, especially for the dive tanks like Ball, Winston, and Diva. That little bit of mitigation from 3 to 5 is enough for them to be safe on engagements.
Mhm.
And also, it's a big thing for Arisa because her shield's gotten weaker, but her armor's a lot stronger, so she's become this sort of
Mhm.
brawly
Yeah, and her
mecha
movement.
cannon. Yeah, so that's fun. The Arisa changes. It's basically a rework without saying it's a rework. So the
Yeah.
way you ran Sig
Yeah,
Risa
her
here,
playstyle will be
yeah,
completely changed.
yeah, the way you ran Sig Risa here, you're never gonna run again. Um,
Yeah.
the
Well, I
she,
mean, we didn't even really effectively run it, right? Like, I never did pull rock, nothing.
oh
Like, there
no,
wasn't a whole
sure,
lot of combos.
yeah,
That's what I could have noticed personally.
yeah, and I noticed that actually in your gameplay too. I was like, it kind of shows how strong Sig Risa was. There was like
Yeah.
very little coordination between you guys
And
because
it
just
still got
it's
so much
it
value.
got so much value for
I
nothing.
mean, yeah, and like I remember I played Sigma a bit upon his first release, and I remember every game I averaged like 20k damage.
Oh yeah,
It was he was just so broken that I could just average like insane numbers, like damage boosted Ashes kind of.
oh it was insane. It was absolute insanity. And we'll talk Sigma post patch
Hmm.
if you
Yeah,
want to, because I think it sounds like you want to pick him up.
yeah, we'll see. His barrier has got a huge nerf though. That's
We'll talk about it because it's gonna be fun. He's gonna be okay, but
yeah. Oh,
um,
that sounds
yeah, we'll talk about it. And this video will make sense, even though it's an
mhm.
old one, it'll still make sense.
Yeah,
All right, so the barrier is a big one. It's basically a freaking monkey bubble at this point.
yeah. Well,
It's bigger than
Monkey
a monkey
Bubble
bubble.
does
Yeah,
more
it's
now.
bigger than a
Yeah.
monkey bubble at this point. The 4 to 5 one's a big one. 10 to 8 is pretty huge. You should probably be spamming it off cooldown if you're running on
Well,
ladder.
yeah. It's like can't get CC'd while it's on.
Exactly.
It's like when you're Winston, you pretty much use all your cooldowns as soon as you get them. Well, depending
Depending. All right,
situation.
Sigma. We'll touch on him, and then we'll come back to him. Barrier health reduced, and barrier health regeneration rate reduced. Kinetic grasp, kinetic grasp cooldown reduced, which is really important, and the sort of symbiotic shit you suck in and take in
Yeah. Yeah.
is increased.
Mhm.
Do you play Rhine at all?
Yeah, I used to play a bit of Rhine, but I like because I first played main tank and then I swapped a bit more over to off tank.
Oh shit, that's funny. So yeah, the Rhine ones are pretty obvious. He just got
Yeah, Rhine's
nerfed.
gonna be really strong.
Uh huh.
The slight nerf is nothing to his barrier when he can just like run into you at like Mach 3.
Yeah, that shit isn't even gonna be up. You're just gonna be swinging like crazy people.
Yeah,
You
you don't
crazy
even need the
people.
barrier.
Exactly. Let's see. The Moira change doesn't. I mean, it kind of affects, but
Yeah, it's
it's a revert. This shouldn't have never been that much. Why do they keep doing that? It should have never been that high in the first place.
yeah,
Uh,
it's it
I,
was, it was really strong.
80 was way too much. She kind of
Yeah,
enabled this meta. DM Matrix. I don't think this is gonna make Diva viable overnight, but this is
yeah.
a nice quality of life for now. It helps
Hmm.
keep Reapers in check.
Yeah,
She's the big
well, as
Reaper
much as
counter
you can.
as much as you can, even though he's really broken.
Yeah,
Um,
I was about to say I don't even play DPS, and when I queued with like in with a diamond friend, I was able to just pick Reaper and just play at the level of him while he played Widow.
yeah, it was insane. Widowmaker one is kind of a small one. Torbjorn one is nice, small
Yeah,
quality of life thing. Same thing with the Genji gimmick, same
yeah,
quality of life one, and the Zarya one's pretty nice too. Um,
yeah. I like this area.
so much of her phasing, her like workflow, I guess,
Mhm.
was that right click zoning out, right click spamming,
Yeah,
right click poke, and
or
it
right click, left click, left
yeah,
click.
it
Wow.
was it kind of died a little bit on
Hmm.
that last one, and it made her you had to play a little differently. This will revert her back to
Yeah.
the way she was. Okay, so we got all the good stuff. Let's talk Sigma. Let's talk Sigma. So the barrier is going down, but the kinetic grasp is going to get a nice little buff. It's going to change your workflow a little bit in
Hmm.
terms of he's truly an off tank now. In like the truest sense of the word, you cannot run
Yeah.
him as a main tank anymore. It's like you tell me like what are your goals as
Hmm.
a Sigma while you're playing in a game? Even this iteration of
In
Sigma, like
this game, I wanted to
yeah,
watch for anyone flanking, and I wanted to be able to peel for my supports and just like overall, just like do the role of like peel while my main tank can keep his barrier up and force the other players back. Um, so there's that obviously, and then I obviously wanted to be able to use his ultimate though
keep
in like
talking.
fights. I often would use it for like there was a fight where a Mei would ult and I had countered it with the Sigma ult, so they couldn't get any value out of the Mei freeze because it froze a bunch of people. Or I think it did. I don't remember. I just ulted instinctively just to counter it and just like not let them get value out of it. Um,
I'm actually gonna do this on that like little white paper.
mhm.
Okay. So if we, I was just taking notes on what you were saying. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's think about it this way. If this is the general Overwatch fight,
Mhm.
like this kind of square, right? This is like what you see and where
Mhm.
the arena, so to speak.
Yeah.
And if this is sort of the halfway line, this is the attackers. This is the defenders on the other side. Um, where's Sigma in general? Like, where do you want to be if this is sort of the contention point? This is where all the action's happening.
You want to be not necessarily on the flank, but you want to be more aware of the flank and you want to be pushed up a bit, right? Not so far that you're going to be like in any danger, like getting frozen by May or something. But you want to be able to be pushed up with the Orisa and just off to the side a bit. Or you want to be, I think, slightly behind her to be able to like halt rock.
Harissa will be black. You can be yellow. So kind of like right here.
Yeah, around the bench.
Not up here, right?
Yeah.
Necessarily. So you sort of want to be in the safety zone. Where are your supports? Kinda.
My supports should be a bit further back, depending on their positioning. Like if there's any surrounding cover, they'll probably be playing around that. But in general, they'll be um, just trying to be positioned wherever there's cover or peel for them.
Right. What this does is it takes this idea of I I use sports analogies a lot. Do you play
Yeah,
football?
no,
Do you know
that's fine.
football?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
this is like the line of scrimmage, right?
yeah,
um, and Zarya is like the line. She's running the
yeah,
line. Sigma's got this really weird spot where he's not necessarily positioned where the quarterback is. He's positioned more where like a fullback would be positioned,
yeah.
or like a tight end. And
Hmm.
what he does is he takes this line of scrimmage and he moves it. And not many other tanks can do that. Monkey can, if you want to take this idea of this map and make it like 3D, because he can go above. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
him and Diva can take the line of scrimmage to places where it's not comfortable for other supports. I mean, for other players.
yeah, yeah.
Sigma can do it on the ground. He can move it forward. He can move it backwards. It's his control because of his barrier. Um, all that to say, you always want to be positioned as Sigma somewhere where you feel like you can control that line of scrimmage. Sometimes it involves and you change it for specific reasons. If there's a flanker attacking your supports, right? So this is you, this is the other, or whatever. Sometimes he wants to move it over here to peel, like you said. Sometimes he wants to move it over here to push up
To zone
on,
them out.
yeah, to push up on a McCree who's out of position,
Yeah,
something like that. Take away
yeah,
his line or something like that, or
hmm
the Pharaoh who's like hovering right above you. You put it in her face,
yeah.
and then everyone can walk up from there. So let's look at the video again. Let's see if you're doing those things. Where's like our line of scrimmage?
The line of scrimmage is kind of around the payload-ish, kind of like just
This
in the
area,
middle.
yeah,
Yeah,
where
right in
that
between
doorway
there.
is. Yeah, like
Yeah.
this is it. Okay, cool.
Hmm.
Let's watch this engagement then. There's a pull, there's a rock. Again, solo queue, not the end of the world.
Yeah.
Okay, he got nanoed. What are you gonna do with the
Yeah.
line of scrimmage?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna want to move it back a bit.
Yeah, you're gonna get out of dodge.
Yeah, because that hurts.
So we're pushing it back. We're doing the correct thing. Okay, now what happened here with this whole line of scrimmage concept?
I kind of went to try to help peel, and then I had lost sense of target prioritization. I went to the left to get the Ana. The Ana had moved up, and then the Reaper came back. So I tried to help peel with that, and then I lost. Since the main tank died, I had like my barrier is the only real one that would be able to like kind of put like a sense of like force, like forcing them back and not allowing them to push forward, was like misused, and then they were able to just push through and just like do whatever they wanted because there was a Discord on the Orisa, and so like when the Orisa just got stomped by the Rhine, it was pretty much like over after I had mispositioned and well, yeah, kind of mispositioned and misused my cooldowns.
Right. Is there a way we could have fixed that, or maybe done something a little differently? Because all right, so
Um,
before you answer that, this is correct right now. This is the line of scrimmage. You notice he gets nanoed, so that's an instant call to get the hell out of dodge. You get
mhm,
out of dodge, and he whiffs his shatter, which is to your benefit. But right here
yeah,
is where things went wrong. Things went.
yeah.
Where could we have fixed this?
I could have used my rock to force the Rhine back, or to I could have used. I also used my barrier in that scenario to force the Reaper to just get zero value or kinetic grasp. And so when I had fell back and given too much space up, and didn't peel for the main tank who was discorded, I gave pretty much up the fight and allowed them to push through
Right.
and just like roll over it.
Right. So what? How could you have changed it? Now that we have the gift of
Mhm.
hindsight.
Yeah. Um, I could have rocked the Rhine to kind of force him back since, and our Orisa wouldn't have had to use the pull because I don't think she's used it yet because she used it to try to force him back a bit.
Yeah, I
But
think she uses it like a
at that,
second after
yeah,
this, right?
yeah, and then I could have put my barrier up to kind of force the Reaper and allow our Orisa to shield dance a bit, or I could use kinetic grasp to block his shots. I could actually have put the barrier behind them to block their healing, and then kinetic grasp. Um, and then because Iana's on the high ground, and I could have zoned her off, and then just use kinetic grasp to kind of peel off the damage from the Orisa and allowed her to move to safety.
Right. Where you're right. Where does this happen? Right. Look from this point of view. Where does this happen? Where should it have
Uh,
happened?
it should have
This way or
happened.
this way or this way?
Um, it should have been kind of down the middle a bit. I should have rocked the Rhine kind of through the barrier up and then kinetic grasped in front of the Orisa. Technically, it should have been slightly to the like leftish up to block the Reaper's like pellets
Here.
with the kinetic grasp. Yeah, about there, I think.
Okay.
And then kind of falling back to let the Orisa move
I can see
out.
that. I was thinking it happens this way.
Hmm.
Um.
Yeah, that was my line of thought. Can you explain yours, please?
Yeah. I don't remember if you have a Lucio because I only saw the tap screen
I
once.
think I had
I don't think so.
Moira and
Yeah.
I Baptiste. I
Yeah.
think
Wasn't a
Baptiste or something. I don't think it was Lucio, but
right.
not running meta.
If you have a Lucio, you can make a faster rotation, right? Because he can
Hmm.
speed
Yeah,
you way over there or something. He could like take
hmm,
you all the way in here or something.
yeah,
um, because you're not running a Lucio, you gotta go where your Orisa is.
yeah.
So the only two logical ones, not even logical ones, the two most pragmatic ones are down the middle or down to your right. I'm thinking to your right because there's natural cover with the truck, and
Yeah.
the staircase back here. The cart's
Hmm.
over here. They got a ways to go.
Yeah.
Um, I think, and you also had these things up right here. Rock
Yeah.
is up, barrier is not deployed, and grasp is up.
Hmm.
We know what rock is for. We went over what barrier is for, but what's grasp for?
The grasp would be for either if the Orisa barrier were to go down to kind of block damage, or it would be to peel for the Orisa and to block all the incoming damage for the Orisa to position better.
And there's one more. You're right. Well, this is like one more. A
Hmm.
really important thing it does.
Yeah.
That is going to be even more important starting tomorrow.
Uh-huh.
It is Sigma's rotation tool.
Oh yeah.
It's the probably one of the most important aspects of the grasp is that it's his rotation tool. Um, because you can take a lot of shit in it. Honestly, there's very few things that don't get caught in that grasp.
Hmm.
Um,
It's hook, but that used to, but now it can't
yeah, it
because
can't do hook
people
anymore,
complained.
but it can do this guy, and that's
Yeah,
big.
it can, and
It just
yeah,
shuts him down.
yeah, you get zero value.
He gets zero value out of you, and maybe a random fire strike or what have you.
Yeah,
And
which
Sigma
from Nanorang would
things,
be strong.
which would be
Yeah,
strong, right? Yeah, it's right. It's a rotation tool.
yeah,
Um, and so what I think the play was, let's watch these
yeah.
next
I
few seconds.
rotated back and then to the left or well, I did hit the rock, but it was
We went middle. We
yeah,
left Orisa, and we've
hmm,
officially taken our line of scrimmage.
and moved it back behind.
Not only have we moved it back, it's two
Yeah,
separate parts. It's like there's
hmm,
one here, and then there's one here.
hmm.
We split up the line of scrimmage, and that's it. It's over. The power of Sigrisa was that it was this
It
at
was
all
good for
times.
keeping space. Yeah,
Exactly. And so when this
when you give
happens,
it up, it's
it's done. It's done.
hmm,
Especially when even in plat,
when we let
if
them collapse into us.
you got it.
Yeah.
So I think the play. Let's finish watching it, and I think I'll go over
Hmm.
what I think the play was. See I mean now we're just backing in our corner, you know. Um,
Yeah. And then I get stunned by running into him.
sure. At that point, it's just clean up.
Yeah.
All right, we did this correctly. And this also relates to your original goals, right? I was like, I want to get better at shot calling. I want to get better at general game sense. I want to get better at ult tracking.
Hmm.
Even in solo queue, if they don't listen, it's not your fault because it's solo queue. But you
Yeah.
should still get into the habit of practicing these shot calls. Get
Yeah,
it,
because
just
when they
call it.
do listen, it tilts the game into your favor. Like you just
Exactly.
almost win by default. Like
Exactly.
because you don't need great mechanics to be able to like when your team doesn't play together. Like you may have a team with really good mechanics, but they just play like too ungrouped and too like spacious and just not great for like say the comp they're running. And then you don't need great mechanics if you can just shot call and position and get your team to do the things that are required for them to win.
Right. So let's say that we had decided to go back here to these boxes. I'm saying all the
Hmm.
way around the boxes.
Yeah.
What would have been the call over voice?
It probably would have been to the Orisa to move back and then get behind my barrier if I in that case because I was throwing the barrier there already. What I could have done in that exact moment since I'd already used it. Technically, it's a short cooldown, and I could have repositioned it, but in that case, it would have been to get the Orisa to move back and reshield when her shield's off cooldown. But I should have it in front of her while she moves back, um, and to leave it there until she has her shield off cooldown. Obviously, I could reposition it once she's back and out of harm's way, but I'd be calling out just for the Orisa to move back, to just give them some slight space, and then to pull them back to the cart or something.
Right.
Obviously, if they like it, technically they use the pull. I think they're already at that point, but
Right.
yeah.
So as soon as, and what's like the trigger for you saying this?
It should be seeing that our Orissa's really out of position in comparison to the rest of the team, right? The Orissa was a bit up. Not to say that they weren't where they should be. Like we technically we could have positioned up with her and it would have been easier. But I think the Orissa,
Keep talking.
we should call for them to just not be so far up, right? Because when we can see when our team is not in positions where they need to be, whether it be they don't have great line of sights or sight lines with the healers, like because oftentimes the healers won't have sight lines, but they don't call it out, right? So if I were able to be aware of that or something, or just to be aware of everyone's positioning on my team, I can call for them to move to places where the healers can see. I can call for them to move back into safety, natural cover, which is an infinite barrier. It allows for a lot of control, and when I see someone who's really far away from everything, um, and has a nanode Rhine coming at them, it's like time for them to move back.
There it goes. All right. So you just told me this. That's right. When someone's in danger, right?
Yeah,
When do we call rotation? When someone's in danger, right? And then you just told me the second one. Ryan is nanoed, right?
yeah.
So what will we
It's
categorize that at?
um, a I guess play passive against like an ult or like an incoming like danger, I guess, or a threat.
Yep. So I'm sorry. Like I'm left-handed too, so this is really
Yeah,
awkward.
it's no worries.
So yeah, you're right. So the first one is friendlies in danger, right? That's this is this color okay?
Yeah,
Okay, so when a friendly in danger, that is reactive. This will all relate, I promise. That's reactive playmaking as a tank. A reaction to a reaction to danger or a reaction to an ult or anticipation,
yeah,
whatever that is, anticipation of an ult.
yeah.
It's reaction or anticipation of an ult. That is, if it's not reactive, it's what?
Proactive.
Yeah, and that's where we want to be as a tank player. This is fine.
Yeah.
This is something we should all be doing. This is also what plats play. This is what they do. And I don't mean that as a aside. I mean it's
No. Yeah,
it's the one dimension they have of tank playing.
yeah.
I see something and I'm reacting to
And
it.
then you react. Yeah,
Right.
you don't think ahead.
Reaper is ulting in our backline. D.Va can use DM.
Yeah, or Sigma presses shift and runs into it.
Right, but by then two people are dead.
Yeah, I mean,
The reaction to that.
the proactive would be to position between the Reaper and the friendlies, and then to use shift to be in between them and be able to use shift and prevent it. Right.
There you go.
Be any deaths.
There you go. High SR is proactive tank playing. So you got it. You just said it. The plat will say, "Oh my God, he's. I know he's doing the thing, the ultimate. I'm gonna press shift or whatever, and I'm gonna eat it. But two people are dead, and we kind of lost the fight."
Yeah.
The proactive one, like you said, is beating him to the spot.
Yeah.
Right? It's like it's the game sense, the shot calling, all that
Yeah.
stuff you want to do.
Noticing
It's like
differences in their play style and knowing exactly what they're going to do before they do it and playing ahead.
exactly that's what it is. So now that we know that, now that we know or have an idea when to call a rotation, this is reactive, right? This is neutral. There's not much you can do in the neutral game in terms of reactions, right? Unless there's like ultimates or anything like that. But in the neutral game where we're just kind of poking, this is fine. This is totally reactive. You're seeing what they give you. You're figuring out a plan. This is when reactive playmaking is appropriate. There's nothing happening. Now, in a perfect world, and we'll get you there, we'll get you to a place where you know he's going to get nanoed. I'm not going to do that in the first VOD. But we'll get you to that place when
Yeah.
we would have anticipated this happening. Um, Alright, he gets nano like right here. Okay. He gets nanoed. Now the reaction is like GTFO, right? Get out. But we can still be proactive here because he's kind of far away. He hasn't shifted in.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the proactive play now?
The proactive play could be to force the Rhine back, like either, well, my rock's on cooldown, so it would be to pull him further back, and then to uh, just force him out, and then when he tries to come in, like hopefully my rock's off cooldown. Or
Sure. What about all the rotation stuff we just talked about?
okay. Well, for
thing?
rotation, we could have forced him back and then rotated into better positioning to deal with him, right?
But no one, even then, sorry, I know I'm pushing you a little bit, but like even we know he's gonna push him. We're not pushing him back.
Yeah.
What's the proactive call right now? We just talked about it. Get back here.
Get out, yeah, and just get into cover,
right?
Natural cover, since that's a limited barrier.
But it's not even. So yes. So you're almost there. It's not even get out. It's not even retreat. Because this is still a little too broad. And again, in solo queue, this is not going to mean anything to anyone. So this is still a little bit reactive, right? Because you're like, he's glowing. React, get out. That's right.
Yeah.
It's retreat. It's a specific retreat. If you give a specific retreat instruction, that's proactive. So the proactive call, the proactive rotation, would have been, as soon as you saw Reinhardt nanoed, it's Arisa. Kite it, either tell her to kite it, and if she doesn't know what kite is, tell her retreat back, or like get out, back right. Go back right. Or you can even like walk her like a dog. Back right. Until she, like, keep going back, and then when she hits the corner, because remember her field of vision is still going to be here, it's like, Arisa back, and then right. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And you can tell her what to do. You can say like, use pull now. Like, save your shield. Do you have fortify? Exactly. And then you can say, all right.
Getting what their cooldowns are, and then thinking ahead of what you can use them for. Exactly.
And if she doesn't have them, because it's solo queue and whatever, you know what you have, but you know what you have. Then you can say, keep backing up. I'm gonna get in front of you. And use grasp. I got it. Get out. I got you.
Yeah.
I'm throwing up shield. Get out. That's proactive.
Yeah.
And that would have. I think they threw the kitchen sink at you. So it is what it is. They out queued you. But getting into this sort of line of thinking as we play tanks, whether it's Zarya, Sigma, or Reinhardt, or whatever, is going to be what's going to help us climb without having to do anything. There's nothing to do with mechanics. This is all like stuff you can do with your brain. So my challenge or my advice to you, and we'll talk about this next VOD, is proactive versus reactive. Pro versus reactive. Are you reacting to situations? This is not going to happen overnight, by the way.
No,
are you still reacting?
Changing how you play.
Exactly. Are you reacting to situations, or are you being proactive as a playmaker?
Yeah. Are you looking for what you can do before you have to do it?
Yep. Are you looking at what you can do before you have to do it? You said it better than I could.
Yeah, that simplifies it quite a bit for me, and just allows me to see a really good difference, right? Because for the most part, I haven't really thought. I have slightly in certain situations I'll think of what I can do, but in most cases it's just, okay, I see this, I just have to do this. It's not thinking of doing this before it even happens, right? So that gives me a way better insight into what I have to do to be just an overall much better tank player.
Right. This is universal, to be honest, but it's very important for tank players.
Yeah.
Tanks and support the most, because we can talk about this some other time, but their roles are a little different compared to DPS because of this. But yes, this is of the utmost importance of proactive versus reactive play. And I don't want you to confuse proactive or reactive with pressing W, and not pressing W has nothing to do with that.
Yeah, no,
It's
no,
just about what are you reading and reacting, or are you. I mean, sometimes you have to take what the defense gives you, and sometimes you have to just go on and do it and make plays yourself.
no. Hmm.
It's This is exactly what it is. So here's what we'll do. Let's get some. I mean, tomorrow's gonna suck a little bit because it's like the new patch.
Yeah,
um, so if the games are decent,
yeah.
get
Well, I'll
something.
see. I think I might get some Zarya VODs.
Yeah, Zarya would
See,
be good. Zarya would be really
or
good.
Hog. One of
Both would be
those.
any tank would be good.
Yeah.
Any tank would be good. But yeah, let's try to get a VOD this week again. Um, and we'll go from there. And you have access to the
Yeah.
server now, and you can
Mhm.
ask questions. And there's a bunch of other staff who are great and all that stuff, and they can answer questions too. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Sounds good.
All right, man. We'll be in
Yeah.
touch. And
Yeah, for sure.
hit me up whenever, like on the server, or DM me and just ask a question, and we'll get it
Yeah.
answered.
Yeah. Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Awesome.
Awesome. I'm glad, man.
Okay.
All right. I'll see you. Take it easy.
See you. Thank you. Bye.